In August 2009, after Mr Joyce's bombshell visit to Kapiti Council, NZTA announced a public consultation on a project the community had never seen before, New Expressway. Remember, even as late as February 2009, Nathan Guy had said, "I am working hard with the Mayor, Jenny Rowan, to get the Western Link Road project started this year as the funding has already been allocated." What? No one told him about the RONs?
Option 1, known as the Eastern option, kept bits of the planned Western Link Road, and the main highway would run alongside the railway line and through the eco-subdivision of Waterstone. Residents there were outraged, as were residents of the lifestyle area of Camelot.
Option 2, which came to be called the Western option, kept bits of the planned Western Link Road, and the main highway would run along the railway line, wreck the eco-subdivision of Waterstone even more, and affect Camelot even worse, and destroy the special atmosphere at El Rancho Christian Holiday Park, the Takamore Wahitapu sacred and historical sites, and affect any residents living near El Rancho. Further north, it would carve through wetlands and ruffle feathers at the nearby Namanu Bird Sanctuary. Everyone was unhappy.
In September, Mr Joyce spoke at a public meeting at Southwood Theatre. It was pure political theatre. According to Jenny Rowan, we were offered a choice between a dog and a lemon, and Minister Joyce had used bullying tactics to manipulate the community into turning the Western Link Road into the Expressway. Media reporting at the time didn't help, portraying the minister's manoeuvring as a back-down and confusing the Western Link Road with an expressway.
At the same time, Chris Turver and others organised a petition to NZTA headed Save Kapiti, nothing to do with the current anti-motorway group of that name, and also Support 4-Lane Western Link Road. It's never been verified by NZTA, but it is part of the feedback that was supposedly led NZTA to change its mind and introduce the third option, that bulldozed the expressway along the entire Western Link Road through the heart of the Kapiti district.
It's been bragged about that this whole thing was a jack-up. Here's one of many good people who signed the petition in good faith, thinking they were supporting the Western Link Road, but later feeling they'd been tricked.
We thought we were voting on not having that. I didn't realise that my vote was not having that but having this. And that's where I think there has been a deception. This is not what I thought we were getting. I thought we were having the Western Link. I want the Western Link. It's going to make all the difference we need.
So the consultation was extended with another leaflet. So now we had the Eastern option and the very unpopular Western option, but now they announced the literally Western Link Road option, State Highway 1 Expressway following the Western Link Road corridor.
Now this is basically accurate, and the map is too, but people's heads were starting to spin about the use of terms, and this confusion appears to have been cynically exploited. So the so-called consultation with the leaflets wound up on 31 October, and the results were published. The option, in yellow, touted as the winner, was the Sandhills Expressway, which the NZTA continued to brand with the term Western Link.
In reality, more people had chosen other options, and the only reason this one was chosen because they'd split the votes against it.
This is a common tactic used to divide and rule, or should we say, divide and confuse. But wait, there's more. NZTA commissioned a Colmar-Brunton phone survey late in 2009. Now, presumably Colmar-Brunton were using information supplied by NZTA, so we're not blaming them. But only a few of the people at Colmar-Brunton surveyed had any NZTA maps there to look at. They were told their feedback would be taken into account to help NZTA make its decision, and they were asked to help choose their reference from what they heard.
In no particular order, people were given three options. They were given the Eastern option, which had the word Expressway in it twice, and which drew 20% of the vote. They were given the Western option, which had the word Expressway in it once, and which drew 13% of the vote. And they were given the Western Link Road option, which didn't have the word Expressway in it at all, and it drew 49%. No wonder NZTA isn't making a song and dance about this survey. It's a shameful misuse of taxpayers' money to help justify a really bad decision. A massaging of the figures which need massaging to justify such an uneconomical, environmentally disastrous, socially divisive road. A road which will be helped along by the sale of our country's state assets.
Even commentator Vernon Small, who often speaks well of the government, says asset sales are a mistake. We agree, especially when the money will be spent on a road which loses money for the economy. It's a road which NZTA's own studies had already said was the worst option due to its environmental, social, cultural and economic impact. I've been looking into the economics of this road. There's a document on the NZTA website called the SAHA Report, and it's analysis of the wider economic benefits of the RONs. Now, I've spoken to some experienced economists, and they're pretty sceptical about some of the methodologies used in the report. Rod Oram did a piece on it in the NZ Herald last year, and it obviously scared the bejesus out of Stephen Joyce because he immediately demanded a right of reply. Now, that report was dated July 2010. But the interesting thing is that there's an earlier version of the report dated December 2009. And this report was deemed to be final at the time. A member of Save Kapiti requested the report under the Official Information Act, and NZTA refused to give it up. The Ombudsman intervened, and NZTA had to cough it up finally, along with a copy of the second report in July 2010. But the most interesting thing is the paper trail, which shows that NZTA and SAHA considered the December report to be the final version and signed off on it and all the deliverables for their project. It wasn't until a week after the OAA request that NZTA commissioned the second report, or the second revision from SAHA. The reason NZTA did not want to release that report was because it broke the RONs down project by project, and it showed that the benefit-cost ratio for this project was only 0.6, which means it loses 40 cents in every dollar that's spent. That's not economic value. The later report consolidates the RONs as an integrated whole, but really the only thing they've got in common is the name.
And you've still got Pukerua Bay. You haven't done Transmission Gully yet. You don't have a motorway all the way to Wellington anyway, so you'll have a very expensive road through a neighbourhood, cutting it in half for no reason.
Okay, the SAHA report tells us there will be new jobs created. They estimate 650 new permanent jobs across the length of the Wellington to Levin Northern Corridor. Now that corridor is costing $2.2 billion to build, and that equates to a cost per job creation of $3.3 million. And if you compare that against the 44,000 jobs that are going to be created anyway over the next 16 years through natural processes, it's a tiny percentage. It's not even a margin of error. Now compare that to the Western Link Road, which was going to create 4,000 new jobs in the Kapiti region alone.
So whenever a major roading project, anyone's talking roughly, 400 or 500 million, triple it, just triple it, and then you're somewhere near safe ground. So, and to not get near that kind of figure, they would have to make the kind of cuts that would make this thing unpalatable to almost 100%, not just the 80% that don't want it now, but the other 20% will swing as well.
We know we need good transportation links to Wellington. Now the SAHA report identified one industry that's going to benefit from this, and only one industry, and that's the logging industry from forests north of Palmerston North. Now those logs are going to be harvested in about 20 years' time, loaded onto trucks, trucked down to Wellington to the docks. They'll get there maybe 10 minutes sooner, and they'll sit there for months waiting for a boat to come and pick them up. Now, where's the economic benefit in that? Where's the productivity gain that Stephen Joyce promised us? Plus those logs could just as easily be transported, and probably more cheaply and safely, by rail.
They say it's going to cost this much, it'll end up costing 3 times as much because of all the peat and the sand and the dunes. Yeah, I just think that's a huge waste of money, when there's already a highway there that just needs upgrading.
Imagine what you could do with the billions of dollars that's going to be spent on these expressways. Imagine what you could do with your public transport network with that kind of money. Fantastic. Envy of the world.
You know, people involved in imposing the expressway aren't anti-roading, just anti-crazy roading decisions. Roads are important, and we need smart highway solutions, like this attractive bridge as part of the Taupo bypass, here being opened by the Minister of Transport, Stephen Joyce. Or these pictures showing how State Highway 1 near Mirimiri, south of Auckland, has been split in two to avoid a difficult site. We're approaching the south side of the Waikanae River and moving into very special and historically sacred areas around the lower reaches.
the Takamore Trust have been more than happy with our rancho acting as the kaitiaki, the guardians of our deceased that reside within that area. The greenhouses to the west here is the spring Te Puno o Rongomai, which is a spring of spiritual significance to Moeopoko, a healing spring. Just at the base of the hill of the Takamore Wahitapu is Waikoko, and just to the south is the Whare Kohanga, the nesting house. These three sites were very important to the Moeopoko, in particular for birthing rights, for women to look after themselves within these springs, heal themselves through the process of birthing, and the nesting house itself for them to conduct themselves in relation to the processes of birth. So Moeopoko have a very intrinsic relationship within this area itself, and have been very strong supporters of the stance that the Takamore Trust have made on their behalf. So Takamore as a area, a landscape, massive historical importance for the community, and the community do need to be clear that they also have their intrinsic relationship within the Takamore Wahitapu in relation to the deceased that passed away through the flu epidemics of the 1915-1919s in that area. And I'm sure that there are many people within the Waikanae and Kapiti Coast community that are descendants of those people that passed away at that time. So there is a relationship that we have as a whole within this area, and Takamore sees itself as the kaitiaki, the guardianship of that relationship and of the deceased that reside within its tribal boundary.